very quick. And then you start talking about it. Now, when you start talking about it, you add additional problems to me, because then stakeholders start coming to me to say, yeah, Minister, you are coming to Fort Hare, here are the issues. I must say that some of the issues that I tabled today, apart from giving our own report on how far is our assessment of the post-administration period. Let me remind you, after every administration in an institution, we then say, okay, this is what the assessor said, this is what the administrator said. So here is a plan to address all the issues that have been raised. And that's what the university must do. We meet a few times a year with Fort Hare. We also use this opportunity to say, from the report that you have given us, this is our assessment and this is where the challenges is. We are pleased to say that the university is addressing some of the problems and issues that were raised by the assessor as well as the administrator, although there are also still challenges at the same time. I then had letters from the Audit and Risk Committee, which raised issues, amongst others. I don't want to go into detail about that. I raised them with council, that they feel that firstly, there is illegal surveillance at this institution of people, and that they are not getting a detailed report on expenditure on security, which as the Audit and Risk Committee must actually be having about that. I also gotten a report from the convocation raising the issues that they feel that the university is not effectively engaging with alumni. All of these institutions, by the way, they say to me, these bodies, they are committed to fighting corruption, but their major complaint is that they don't feel that the university management and council is making them to be part of the fight against corruption. In other words, they are demanding more inclusiveness. And of course, the issue of cyber surveillance, it's a very serious matter. Now, all these matters I'm saying, I've put them before council and said to council, please deal with them. Please deal with these matters. And I must say we are coming out of here positively, because council said they themselves are concerned that their last two meetings didn't take place, didn't sit. And they committed to me that they are going to sit. And then some were saying, well, if they fail to sit, then they will appeal to me to find a facilitator to help them to sit, because council must sit. They committed to that. Secondly, they committed that they're going to look into all the issues that I raised with them, including those that were being raised by Nteu, the academic staff union, the ex-co of the convocation, as well as the Audit and Risk Committee. They said they are going to look into all those issues and report back to me. That's what we have agreed. And that they are going to give, and also appeal to them that they must make sure, and they agreed, that all points of views in councils must be allowed to be expressed, to debate robustly, and then at the end come together with a resolution. They've agreed to that. They've also, on their own, which I really appreciated, said, the fact that we are getting the convocation, you are getting some academic staff members, unions, and so on complaining, means that as council they have to engage these constituencies, which is very important, that council commits to do that. And we have said, fine, you have our support insofar as that is concerned. There are a number of other issues that they raise. They feel, some of the stakeholders, that there is no democratic culture in campus. And council said they're going to discuss that, they're going to engage around that, engage the constituencies and what the problems are. I'm doing all this with council because remember my first port of call is council. So that is the discussion that we're actually having. They are meeting on Tuesday next week, and we agreed they must make sure that the council collaborates and that all issues are discussed and the council must engage all issues and be able to come out, because that's the only way we're going to have stability at Fort Hare. I must also say this in conclusion, Ishmael, that I'm raising this with the media because media will rely on you a lot. We're sensing that there's some disinformation campaign. Now, I'm old enough, by the way, with a lot of experience in the field. You know, people are saying I've come here because I want to dissolve council of Fort Hare. Now, I know that disinformation tactics can be very clever if we are stupid. The reason why there's this disinformation is to force me to say I will not dissolve the council. I've not come here for that. I'm not come here to either consider dissolving or not dissolving. I've come here to say what are the next steps to actually stabilize Fort Hare. I want to plead with the media also, please help us to report accurately and also identify disinformation campaign that is not helpful at the end of the day. We have a bigger task to ensure that the children of the working class and the poor continue to access university education through Fort Hare. Ngifuna ngizokhuluma ke Ishmael ngangiphi namanzi. Ngize ngoba izwi lami manje li-stressed. It's not me stressed here, is the voice, the chords that are stressed. So I think that it's important that we actually do that. The one matter, by the way, that I'm forgetting. You are aware that we've held about 2 summits now on security, campus security, with all the universities and representatives from all the universities and all the TVET colleges. We requested that since Fort Hare did not send a representative, can they please send a representative? So that also they participate in that. We gain also from their own experience and so on, because we are giving this issue of campus security a lot of attention. I think that with that, it should be enough now in terms of what I wanted to say. We are all agreed that we must protect the brand Fort Hare. It's a brand, University of Fort Hare, given its past history, and we still want it to play an important role now going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister, for giving us a summary of the statement. I have shared the statement with you, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, on the details that is contained in what the Minister is speaking about. I'll now give you an opportunity to ask clarity-seeking questions with the minding what I've said earlier on when we started. Just brief and to the point. But please firstly introduce yourself. Thank you, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Minister, this is Johnny Isaac. I'm a freelancer and a contributor to News 24. My question is with regard to recent developments that the provincial premier, Mr. Mabuyane, has been granted an interim interdict against the investigation that the university has been carrying, and using a proclamation which seems to limit the scope of the investigation in as far as the master's program. I want to hear your views, Minister, and also on the fact that Mr. Mabuyane has pronounced publicly that he thinks your department is the one equipped to investigate matters related to academic, such as the RPL. And you've also been quoted elsewhere having said the same, that your department is equipped. But this matter has been in a public domain before it went to SIU. Why wasn't your department proactive in making sure this matter is investigated? And does your department has the capacity to investigate the academic matters that are happening in Fort Hare? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Oh,
Maybe, Minister, let's take 3 questions.
awusho ngiphethe ngibhale phansi ngizokhohlwa.
Okay. Sorry.
Angiphendulele bese ubuya
Bese-
idatha.
okay.
Yes, that's right. Eminye ke sengizobhala phansi ngoba uzobe usungule nje. Your question is multi-layered, you know. Thank you very much for it.
I had to because of the time.
Yes, I don't know where to start. Firstly, I want to say this, that the SIU is quite capable of investigating matters of corruption, as it has been assigned to do so. But also it's correct that matters of recognition of prior learning, academic qualifications, and all that are matters that belong to the purview of my department. Yes, we do have the capacity. We have lots of it, actually, to investigate such matters anywhere in the country, in any of our institutions, because we are also assisted by, amongst others, the Council for Higher Education, which is assigned to deal with such matters of quality, programs, and so on, and the South African Qualifications Authority in areas of qualification specifically. My worry, as you say that I've been commenting, is that this issue of Fort Hare and allegations around corruption in awarding of degrees and so on, or registration, has the danger of discrediting recognition of prior learning and actually present recognition of prior learning as if it's corrupt. Recognition of prior learning is not corrupt, and I would plead with the media to say so. I'm not misleading you. Knowledge is acquired through 2 ways, right? It's formal learning in class or work experience or life experience, if you like. That's the nature of knowledge. It's not something we discovered today. It goes back centuries. Therefore, knowledge acquired through work experience or life must also be accredited. And that's why then we have systems of recognition of prior learning. That is done through systems, not just anyhow. You evaluate people and say, you left school in matric, but you have been 15 years as a trade unionist now. When we evaluate you, are already having knowledge equivalent to a junior degree. Therefore, if you want to continue study, we will take you at honors level. Or someone has a degree, but we have acquired enough knowledge, you are equivalent to honors, then you can do a master's degree. I don't like this thing in media then saying there's corruption. It's wrong. It's just ignorance, actually. It irritates me sometimes, mainly because the people of this country have fought for recognition of prior learning. It's an international practice. It's also historically a practice that has been there in South Africa. So then we must distinguish that. The SIU must investigate corruption, but SIU does not have the knowledge of recognition of prior learning. So they must either go to people who are knowledgeable to then get proper knowledge, or they actually hand over that part of the investigation to institutions that are assigned by law to deal with that. It's not to avoid corruption, but it's to say when it comes to matter, you can't say because the premier doesn't have an honors, therefore it was wrong for the premier to be registered for masters. If he went through an assessment of recognition of prior learning and then said this is what the case would be, it would be wrong. So I have a duty to protect that as Minister of Higher Education and Training, because if you take out recognition of prior learning, you are actually in trouble. Whether the premier was right to go to court or not, that's not my call. Every South African has a right to protect his or her integrity, image, and so on. The other thing that I think I need to say, which somehow is reinforced by this court judgment that involves the premier, is that the SIU must stick to the proclamation when it investigates. SIU can't be given. I've raised this, by the way, with Mr. Mtibi. directly when we were meeting with him. I said, I'm worried that sometimes the SIU seems to be given a particular proclamation, then it goes all over the place. I raised this with him, he can tell you. The court seems to be reinforcing that. Because you can't fight illegality with illegality, which is the matter I was raising, by the way, at Fort Hare, here at Fort Hare, because people say lots of things are being done illegally in the name of fighting corruption. You can't do that. If you are fighting corruption, you must do it legally. You can't fight illegality with illegality. We are not the apartheid regime here. So that is the issue then. Also, my concern with the SIU can't do work forever without coming out with the results. I want to repeat that. Some people twist this as if I'm saying something else. The first proclamation at Fort Hare was 2021. I don't have a progress report from the SIU till today. Why? 2 years? Nothing happens? Why are you investigating non-stop and forever? I have instructed my Director General, I want to say this publicly, to meet with the SIU to say where the SIU is involved, whether it's in NSFAS, we now need a time frame and amount of money that will be charged by the SIU. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Minister Ronald Masinga, ENCA. So you've obviously made it very clear, Minister, that you won't be dissolving the council. Do you feel, upon or following your engagement, that the different stakeholders that you spoke to are confident of the current leadership of the university?
Who is confident?
Are they happy with the current leadership?
No, let me say this, by the way. Also, don't jump. I've said I haven't come here to dissolve the council. It doesn't mean that I can't dissolve the council if circumstances develop that require me to do that. That's why I'm fighting, I'm not saying we are part of it, the disinformation campaign, that it mustn't tie my hands. I've got very competent experts and officials in my department who are guiding me through this. You know, what I've said is that I haven't come here with a preconceived idea that I want to dissolve council or that I've come here to dissolve council. Definitely that's not what I'm doing. But I can't then commit to say if things go south, I can't take further action, which may or may not include dissolving the council. But that's not where I am now. You are right. You know, the fact that you got Labour, you get the Audit and Risk Committee, you get the Academic Staff Association and Convocation coming to me, clearly it means that there are constituencies that do not have confidence in this council. And that's what we agreed today, that the council must address that.